Cam Ringer, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G and Big Lou. It's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. The sports book, lots of basketball to talk about. The other night, the Lakers played, they played um, Denver, and I took the under because the over was 240. And
Yeah.
the Lakers were on top of their game. Denver was off, and I
hmm
think I had 13, 14 points left, but I got squeezed out a little win on that. Right now, the Lakers are playing top notch. They're the number 4 seed. Um, got to, I know the season's still got. Well, you're in 55 games. You got 26 more games. That's not that many. I
No,
mean,
not that many left.
yeah, no, not that many. They're at 6-18. They're on an 8-2 run. Oklahoma's in first at playing at 46-10. I just, like I said, when it comes to the Thunder, I just kind of really got turned off with them in the cup, and they look terrible and they're off. But like one thing that you have pointed out more than once about the Lakers, because you're a Laker fan, is when it comes to the Lakers, their defense hasn't been that great. They need and you've made comments of they could beat them one night, but it's the series is where they have the problem.
Right. Right. That's where they had a problem at because, yes, they're gonna have off game. I actually had a chance to watch that game, and although the Lakers held the lead for the majority of the game, I was real nervous. I was like, if they let this game get under double digits, they're gonna lose. That's how I thought, especially because Denver, was coming down, they was hitting some shots, but kudos to the wings and the guys off the bench for the Lakers. The young guys. They was able to stretch the floor and get some steals and get some points off of those steals. And that's what it's going to take. They still need a big, somebody that can uh handle the Jokic and other guys, that's going to be a problem down in the paint because they play small ball right now. But they seem to be winning. Luca, he was hitting the clutch threes when he had to, and LeBron still just, surprised us all, with the way that he plays. He's 40, he's 40, but he plays like he's 10 years younger, which
Right,
is excellent.
right.
Which is excellent. Now, I'm not gonna go, I'm not gonna, jump to the extreme and say yes, they're gonna win a championship because they beat Denver once, in a regular season game, although crucial, and it's just the way they won that impressed me. They're still gonna need that big to win the championship. But uh I do believe that they could probably be one of those four teams standing at the end, you know. But they have to get a big for me to have total confidence on, them heading to another championship. But I do think if they play the way they played against Denver the other night, they have a good shot at going deep in the playoffs.
They're definitely gelling. It definitely definitely they got the better half of the trade. You were 100% right on that.
Mhm.
Because AD went down. The Dallas is still in the hunt, a little bit above 500. I don't know what the stat is on AD. I don't know if that's is it correct. I know
Uh,
San Antonio. How do you have?
uh,
How long?
well, they're hoping that it's just a couple of weeks or a few weeks with AD. It's just that he's gonna have to like get some work done, especially when you have like a abdomen and then the leg,
Tear.
that leg, the muscle in his leg that tear, that's a big muscle. So it's going to take a while for that to heal. It's just him actually healing and investing in his body because AD has all of the attributes. It's just he's injury prone, and it's just investing in your body and maybe working, with the strength and conditioning people to get better, to heal to where he can actually play to his ability. And he wants to play like he used to when he was healthy, but he's limited by, nagging injuries. And because he was great before he got hurt in that first half of that game. I mean, he was
Right.
awesome. And then he got hurt, and now he's going to be out for a while. So it's unfortunate, but that's just something that's going to linger and probably stunt, some of the capabilities that he have of winning multiple championships and going to other teams and doing what he does. He's still one of the top players. It's just that it's the lingering, the ongoing injuries is what kind of bags everybody off of him.
And then San Antonio's lost their superstar, Wimben for the rest of the year, and Pop ain't coming back.
No,
The stroke,
Pop's not coming back. Yeah,
no,
it's some stuff he's got to. It's some stuff that he's got to do before he can get back on that sideline. So my
yeah,
prayers go to him for a speedy recovery and all the players too. We want to see you guys on the
sure.
court and doing what you do.
Trying to get over that. Well, they were being they were trying to be very optimistic, saying Pop will
Yeah.
be back by that's a lot to come back from a stroke, depending on how bad. Don't know exactly how bad it was. All that I'm sure he's getting the best health. And but it takes a while for him to come back. But like you said, our prayers is with all the players and the coaches. And I was watching a little bit of Stephen A. He could be out there.
Yeah.
He was on Embiid. He was on Embiid about retiring, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Geez, the guy." I think my personal opinion is I think Embiid needs to get out of Philly. That's my personal. That's mine.
Maybe.
I think
Maybe.
it's time for him. I just think he's. It is what it is in Philly, and I think he would
Hmm.
be a great land for someone else to. I mean, you just can't. Philly, I don't know. It's almost like they can't get out of their own way, and I think he would be a great pickup for a lot of teams. I'm sure Philly would want too much for him,
Oh, of
and they
course.
could they could reboot. Like I said, that's the only thing I think. I think it's time to get out of Philly and try to go somewhere else. I mean, because they can't put it together around him, and I mean him. There's a lot of places he could go, and you can go, wow, he's going to make a huge impact. Um, but yeah, I think Philly's definitely not the spot. I don't know about I wouldn't say retire. He's just Stephen A.
It
just
just
he goes off on the on the tangent. But of course, let me see. So I see standings. There we go. Let me pull this up. Um, trying to
I guess
pull
he
it up. There
feels
we
like
go.
yeah, I guess he feels like Embiid is not putting in the work or the effort, when it comes to getting healthy. I don't know how you assess that, but what I do know is Philly killed him. Well, I won't say that. That's a little harsh. Philly really messed themselves up with the Paul George signing
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
like I don't understand. I mean, I get it. Paul George is a great wing. And beneficial to the team. That's Matt. I get where they was going with it. We got him beat. We got Paul George. They'll help Maxi out. Now you got your big three, and you work around it. But like us, I'm pretty sure they saw what happened with the Clippers when he was with the Clippers. It's
right,
like he demands X amount of dollars, but you're not on the court enough. There's
right,
another
right,
one that you know, hasn't fully gave us a season where it was like, okay, he's back, you know. But you
right,
can't call yourself playoff P if you're not in the playoffs. Got to be in the playoffs.
right.
But injuries happen, but at the same time, we've seen it. So why would you commit that much money gambling on the fact that he's going to be there all season when you've watched him on other teams not be there all season. So I think
Now
that's
that's
what hurts them, that signing.
well, and then Philly had Harding. They brought Harding in, remember? And that was,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that's true, but
you just bring in a great scorer, but he's not really leading you. You know what I mean? The proof is in the proof is in the paper. The proof is in the pudding,
right.
as they say, whatever. Um, James Harden's a great player, has a lot of stats. Hasn't really done
Hmm.
well in the playoffs. And that's it.
Right.
There's nothing else. End of conversation, but he's gonna give you a bunch of points and a bunch of stats, and it'll be exciting. It'll be great to watch. But don't look for him to electrify you in the playoffs.
Right.
It's getting to the end of his tier. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so if he does get a ring, it will be as a role player, a great role player. But
Hmm.
there's because again, like you just said, he requires too much money. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, yeah,
Too
we
too
don't,
too much money.
yeah, we could take you for this much, but for what he wants and what he's tied up into, it's just like we're not really, they're just not going anywhere with
Right.
him.
Which
Um,
yeah, which kind of which kind of I have to scratch my head on some of the decision making because the NBA, it's not like the NFL where your second and your third rounder may be potentially, a good player. After the first round in basketball, pretty much garbage time. So it's hard for me to wrap around in my head knowing that they would gamble X amount of dollars on a certain superstar that's
right,
known for injuries or known to
right.
be not on the court for a long period of time. It'll be hard for me to make an investment like that.
They've made, they're calling for the firing of um, the management at the Mavericks for the
Oh
trade.
yeah.
A lot of
Oh yeah.
people, a lot of people like you said, you're like, why did they do that? And I don't know what your general manager has a huge role in a lot. Even football, basketball, that's a huge person because they're controlling. They're over draft, they're over trades, and if they make the wrong or multiple wrong trades and multiple, I mean, you're stuck for a long time. There has been plenty of them all in basketball and in NFL. Plenty of bad decisions, giving too much for people, them not panning out. That's no, that's absolutely the truth. We'll have to wait and see. But going in the West, I mean, I know Oklahoma is far and beyond their record. It's far and beyond everyone else. But the Lakers and Denver Nuggets and Memphis are pretty close. They're a couple games apart. So
Hmm.
that's still, the Grizzlies put it back together after last year. Um, Minnesota's hanging down there. The Mavericks are down there 7. Golden State. Don't know if I don't know if Jimmy's going to be enough for them to make a. Well, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
we will definitely see. Um, and then under that, it just gets Sacramento and then Phoenix and then everyone else, Portland, San Antonio, and New Orleans, and the Pelicans. The Pelicans are just gonna have to implode and
Yes.
try to
Implode, start over.
yeah, because it's obvious. Well, they actually have a shot at the first pick or being because the Wizards are 9-47, and well, actually Utah and the Pelicans are 14-42. Ain't it crazy? A
Hmm.
few years ago, Utah, we were really thinking they could win a NBA title,
Oh
and
yeah.
now, yeah, it
Yeah,
was
they have
it was
squad.
about
Now they're star
yeah.
players in Cleveland, and is uh Cleveland is number one in the East.
Yep, number one in the East, and now we're talking about the Jazz have a chance at the first round draft choice because their record's so bad. That's just like that, the swings are unbelievable. You know what I mean? It's
I
like, where?
know
How did
it's
that? I mean, I
how did they
understand you
go
trade stuff.
from
They
yeah,
were
you're
us talking
here
about, yeah.
and yeah, you're here, then the next season you're down at the bottom. It's amazing.
And the Cavs, you break down the Eastern Conference with the Cavs, you got Cleveland, Boston, the Knicks, Indiana Pacers there, Milwaukee Bucks, Detroit. And I wouldn't be
Detroit
surprised too.
Pistons.
Now, when I say this, if Giannis stays in Milwaukee, if they don't have another good, if they don't make it far in the playoffs, I don't know. I just got this weird feeling that he either wants some more people with him or he wants to go somewhere.
Yeah,
That's just, I know he's got one title, but the thing is, it doesn't seem like they're making little moves, but not big moves. I would have
right.
thought after that, yeah, I would have thought after that they would have been just conquering, like, oh, I want him, give me him. And instead, they've made some moves, and it's just like they haven't been as aggressive as I thought they would be. Um,
Right.
and which I thought was a big deal. Me and you talked about it when the Bucks won, small market, had been a long time. Milwaukee Bucks, man, that was, what I mean, that was great. It really
Yeah, it was
was.
exciting.
It
Hmm.
was. It was exciting. Um, but yeah, not being so well. I mean, There's a lot of whatever. But Cleveland, Cleveland's the real deal. Boston's still tough, but Cleveland's really
Hmm.
the deal. And if they could put one in there, and I know this means no disrespect. I don't know nobody because I know people are. If they could win one without LeBron there, I think that just says a little something about,
Yeah.
hey, the tenacity and obviously the GM and all them, because when they won the championship and LeBron left, that's a big that was a big hole. And they were okay. They weren't the greatest, but they stuck
Right.
with it, and now they're at the
Top of
top
the
of the
East.
food. Yeah, and if they can stay healthy, they have as good a chance as anybody's um, to win it. I mean, a lot of times it depends on the road you have to take, and some
Right.
roads are a little bit easier, and that's for sure. But I think they definitely have. Boston's tough too. There's no doubt, and the Knicks are playing
Yeah.
good, and the Pacers can put up a bunch of points as always. Um, but the Cavs, man, the Cavs are putting up a bunch of points per game, like
Hmm.
122. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're
Yeah, they're
definitely
definitely shooting the ball well. They're playing very good basketball. To me, Boston
the better
still to
defense.
me, yeah. Uh
I
Boston
agree.
still
Yeah.
to me, even though they're in second place in the East, they still feel like you got to go through them, you know, to
Yeah,
win that conference.
I agree.
Especially with the game that they played. I also watched their game over the weekend as well. And the way they were playing, I was like, yeah, they're still on top of their game with Tatum and Brown.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah, Tatum and Brown, they're role players. White and Porzingis had a good game as well. And as long as they're clicking on cylinders like that, it's going to be hard to beat them. But it seems like uh that conference belongs to Cleveland right now.
yes, right now, and you're right. Um Celtics are tough. They're probably the best defensive team in the NBA, arguably.
Arguably,
And
I would
that's
say, yeah.
all. Yeah, and so that's pretty tough. And they play well together. And like I said, it's not like the Cavs have a huge. I mean, they got a 6 game lead on them. I'm expecting though. Well, it's still. I'm expecting it to kind of end up where it is. Three, 4, and 5. I think will rotate, but I don't see
Yeah.
the Cavs sliding unless of course there's a couple huge injuries which could happen at any time. Uh,
Right.
but that being said, because the other night they beat the Knicks. They beat the Knicks by 13. And the
Hmm.
Knicks, they were playing at the Gardens, um, and they look good.
Yeah. New York is almost there, almost there. They are right where they're supposed to be at third seed because they can play like title contenders, but I don't think they have enough experience or depth to beat Boston or Cleveland in a 7 round series.
Right,
But they're right there. They're right there. I will give them. I will give New York that. They missed a lot of shots in that game against Boston. Had they went in, it would have been a closer game. It would have raised our eyebrows a little bit more. But they left a lot of points on the court, if you will. With some easy shots, too many threes. They shoot too many threes
yeah,
because they could have. They were eating into that lead. Especially in the third quarter. But you know, it's just no mid range. It's either threes or under the basket. And when the threes are not going in, that's when you go to your mid range jumper and and playing half court basketball. Too many
right,
threes were
right,
shot when they played Boston, and I think that's the one of the reasons why they lost. The other reason is okay, we're the champs, so we're going to show you
correct.
that we're the champs, and they did as such.
Now the other game that I thought found very very interesting. It was a Saturday game that wasn't really watching, but I was watching the score, and I was trying to figure out, was that the Hornets from St. Joseph School that was playing the Trailblazers, or was that the NBA version? Because it was one four. The end was 141-88. I mean, I was
Wow.
just like going into the. I remember looking. I was out, Lou, and I saw the halftime score,
Hmm.
and it was like 75-47. I was like, yeah, that's a little. And then it just got worse. That just I was like,
It's just
gee,
just got worse.
they lost by 70. The Hornets are
Yeah,
bad. The
yeah,
Hornets.
they're bad.
The only
They're
people that are
bad.
worse than the Hornets is Washington.
Hmm.
Washington's rough too. It's like I guess you just go in there, but they should get a first
Nine
round draft.
games.
Nine
We're
games.
like 3 quarters away in the season. They have won only 9 games.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you'd have to
yeah,
say everybody's getting fired, or um, I don't know. They're 9-44 or something like that.
yeah, nine
It's
and
is
yeah,
it
nine. Yeah, you're close. 9 and 47, but close
nine
enough.
and four, 9-47? It's been a long
It's been a
season.
rough season. You know.
I think we could get tickets for that game. I think we could probably.
Yeah,
Well,
we could
so
get tickets. We could get courtside, no problem.
we could be the big baller at courtside at the Wizard side,
Sports
especially
Boogie
on
was
the Wizard.
courtside.
Yeah, especially on the Wizard side. It'd be like on the
Right.
Wizard side. It'd be, oh, it's funny, but it's crazy. I tell people this. I said, man, if you ever want to do a crazy trip, find a losing team
Hmm.
close, and man, I mean, you could go, hey, we'll drive there. Like when the Titans were bad, Titans are eight
Yeah.
hours away from us. We could go to
Right.
Oklahoma. I mean, everything's pretty. I mean, Oklahoma, San Antonio, those are all doable. I'm not saying they're Dallas, but Dallas has a good team. And there was Titan tickets that were like $8, $11, $12. And I'm sure the Wizards is the same. I'm sure you could
Yeah.
find. Sure, you could buy the $8 and just walk down where there's
Yeah. Just walk
nobody.
down. Because it's going. It's like okay, we don't have to fight for. We don't have to fight for our seats.
No, not at all. Honestly, that's like let's see if I can pull that up. That's like New Orleans right now.
Yeah.
I bet you can get New Orleans tickets kind of cheap. And it makes
Yeah.
for fun to go. You get to pick your
Hmm.
team. You're still watching a professional game.
Hmm.
So I mean it's kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of scary. You could do that. But like I said, I think um I think that, like you said, the Celtics, they're bad. I mean, it's going to be a tight race in the West and the East, and it's going to
Hmm.
be, but won't be surprised if it comes down between the Cavaliers and Boston. Won't
Right.
totally be surprised. It would be,
Right.
considering everything that's going on, I wouldn't be surprised with them. And now in the other flip side of that, like I said, with the Lakers and Memphis and all three of them being so tight, depending where they end up, it could be a easier road further down in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Right.
So, which is, yeah, you know what I mean? Because that's the whole thing. The least amount of resistance to get to the goal. That's all you're trying to do. It doesn't. And we said the same thing about this. Same thing about um, same thing about the NFL. We were
Hmm.
talking. Remember when the Bills beat the Ravens, and I really think
Yeah.
that's Kansas City really wanted that. I don't think Kansas City wanted, and not because anything again, just certain matchups. Certain teams match up better to other teams, and I think
Right.
Kansas City, as we saw, matches up. They match up so tight that they could squeeze out. And I think that the running game, Kansas City did. I guess I can't see because they stopped Barkley. They did, but
Hmm.
they could have stopped Henry. But Lamar could have played havoc, just like Jalen
Right.
played havoc. So I
Hmm.
think that was, they'll play whoever won. But I think it was. I think for them it was like cool. We match up better with the Bills, and it's like I said, the easier way. And I think um, Memphis and them and the Lakers, like if they could finish at two. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden you got a little easier way of, and maybe somebody knocks off the one would put you at
Right.
the one. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, but you're looking for the easiest way to get into the NBA Finals, and then go from there. All right, guys. When we get back, we're going to cover lots of NFL, talk a little bit about NHL hockey. Want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. KM Radio. Don't forget to reach out to us on KM Radio Facebook or Sportsbook Facebook. DM us. We'll be there. All right, guys. We'll be back right here on KM Radio. We go ham.
Damn. All right.
KM Radio. We go ham is Tony G, Big Lou. Thanks for tuning in every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Remember, the premise of the show is to have fun while we're gambling, have a good time. Don't bet. Be responsible. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. It's just entertainment. That's all that it is. If you make some money, hey, that's great. If you don't, hey, that's great too. So you just have it for the experience, just to get involved. Lots of. If you have any questions about it, what's a parlay? What's a teaser? What's the best this? What's the best that? But I will tell you this. I will say this. Don't pay for picks. Stay away from them guys. Most of those, I'm gonna tell you this, the God's honest truth. There's three top pros, there's three top guys, and you could Google them. I'm not mentioning their names, that are top sports books, sports bettors, and they don't sell anything. They're not, there ain't nothing about them that's for sale. They're
Right.
very much into statistics. They're very much into the math, which is a whole kind of a different formula, that
Hmm.
we could get into, but maybe it kind of. I'm not trying to turn. I mean, like I said, we take the stats, the information that we have, and anything that you could use. Um, you want to be a real gambler. Anything that you can use. You got a friend that lives in Dallas who watches the Mavs. Says Kyrie stood out too late last night and got drunk. There you go. There's some info. I mean, just all that stuff is. I'm not saying Kyrie got drunk last night. I'm just using that for example. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm saying all that information, knowing the weather. Remember, me and Lou talk about the weather all the
Yeah.
time.
All the
Is it's
time.
a huge. It's a as the season in the beginning of the season, it's not very much. You know what I mean? It's a little bit if they go
Right.
to Miami, but come come November, December. and it's 18 degrees and there's snow coming down, all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's changing it could have a very big impact on stuff. So just using your knowledge, um, and like I said, right now, the sports bettors have more information at their fingertips than ever before. You can Google, you can pull up what I mean. It's amazing. That still doesn't guarantee that you're gonna win. I see people trying to use AI, and AI is great because it can break down stats faster than a human can.
Hmm.
Um, and obviously than a calculate anything and that's great, but it can't. One thing AI cannot is it cannot it doesn't know what mood the quarterback's in. It doesn't
Right.
understand if someone they don't have that information. They're just putting mathematical and they're giving you a mathematical answer back. So don't get too tied up in
Hmm.
AI because I have a lot of people ask me about that, Lou, and I'm like, it's great for information, but it doesn't know that the weather changed. It doesn't know that
Right.
the quarterback's hand got hurt, and has none of that. It's just breaking down
Right.
information. So let's get into the NFL. Lots of stuff going on. Looks like what you got for me?
All right. The big news in the NFL is Stafford being traded. The Rams have gave Matthew Stafford permission to go out and talk to other teams to see, what type of deal that he can strike out there on free agency. The big talk is the Giants having interest, in him as part of a trade. They want a lot of the analysts, they say they wouldn't give up a third round pick for Stafford. They're saying that he's 1 year older, but he played great. But what
I thought, yeah,
yeah. But sometimes where we get it mixed up is quarterbacks and the systems. It's not so much coach, it's the coach's system. His system
yes,
works best for that QB. Now,
yeah,
Matthew Stafford in LA may not be the same Matthew Stafford in New York because there's a different coaching staff. We all know that
absolutely,
Sean McVay is one of the top tier guys when it comes to quarterbacks, you know,
absolutely,
because everybody that's been through his offensive system has got better jobs. Uh,
yes,
we can
true,
start
very
with
true,
Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield went through his system, and now he's rolling in Tampa Bay.
right.
Uh, even our guy in Detroit. Um,
Golf,
and yeah, it's terrible of me not remembering Jared Goff's name, but where he got there when he was with Sean McVay, went to a Super Bowl. And
yes, sure did.
flip flop quarterbacks. Stafford goes there, he wins the Super Bowl. So
Right.
maybe that system. It may be that system. If I was Matthew, I would work with those Rams, and get some things going. But New York holds the
He,
third round pick, and this is a low quarterback draft. So that's why everybody is hampering. Is like, get that pick, let Stafford play. But that's maybe 2, 3 years tops.
yes, because he got drafted in 2009, number one pick, round one pick. I mean, he's been in the league 14 years, 15 years, going into his fifth. Well, fifth going into his 15 years. 14, whatever you want to. So, I mean, and my thing is here's the other thing that me and you talk about all the time is, um, how much does he want? What investment
Right.
are we getting? You know what I mean? Like, I think the Jets paying Rodgers all that money,
Yes.
I
Whoa.
it wasn't. And you know what's funny is, here's funny. Tampa didn't even pay, uh, he made a lot of money. I'm not saying he didn't, but he wasn't the top paid quarterback.
Right.
And I just forgot his name.
Uh, Brady or Baker?
Yeah, Brady. I'm saying
Yeah,
Brady. So you got a guy with 6 Super Bowls come to your team. You pay him. He made money. I mean, he wasn't you, and they win another Super Bowl. So I
yeah.
mean, like I said, everybody keeps going. Well, which way is how does it work? Well, like I said, Kansas City's got 3 Super Bowls in 5 appearances. I mean, you realize they've been to freaking 5 Super Bowls,
Five
and
Super
you got
Bowls, and you got
Troy
three
said
of
it,
them.
and you got 3 of them. I mean, they're on. But my thing is, they keep working his deal to keep the players. Now it may implode at some time. A lot of people are already saying that their demise, and I'm like, I don't. I don't think next year is going to be their demise. Maybe in 2 years.
No,
Everything
when
everything
Andy
happens
Reid retires, that's when they'll start sliding back down the hill.
in 2 years because I don't know. I don't know who you get to replace Andy Reid. I don't know how you. I don't know how you replace unless you bring up the offensive coordinator in 2 years
Yeah.
and make him now that maybe that way. No, but
Mhm.
Stafford's. I mean, I think he could be a good fit, but I also think that for the right price. That's what I
Yeah.
think. I think it's all about the right price, and I think you know, and that's why maybe he goes out there and tries to see if there
Just
is a
yeah, just see where I think what the Rams are doing, they're trying to gauge, they're letting them go out there to gauge how much they think they need to pay him to stay.
right,
I think they want is okay, so what's your market value? You know, we have our eye test already. We already know, with a couple of tweaks here and there, you can get us there. Especially with all of the other top dogs in the NFC kind of sliding down a little bit. Because,
right,
San Francisco, they're trading away Debo. You
yep,
hope
yep.
McCaffrey comes back, and you got some things there. They say Brock Purdy is their guy. So I think they're trying to gauge a market value for him. So it's like, okay, this is what they want for you. So this is what we're going to pay or try to come to an agreement to. I would stay if I was Stafford. You're playing in LA. I mean, biggest stage, one of the biggest stages. So I would
I
stay.
agree
I would make it work,
because they
because
had
you
a
were
good
this
team.
close. Yeah, y'all
Yeah,
was this close from a championship. So I would stay. Whatever
yeah,
y'all got to do, because he's made the money. Now it's time for him to get some hardware.
yeah. He's
So
got one ring, trying to get
yeah,
another.
just try to get another one.
It
Put
just,
yourself in the upper echelon with these other quarterbacks. Get your ring. You don't need the money. It's ring chasing time. And when it's time to chase a ring, although I agree with everybody when they say they're owners, you know, you don't cut them no slack because they got the money. I understand that, but they also have a salary cap.
right.
So do what I guess it depends on the individual. What do you want? If you want rings, you're gonna have to, there's gonna be some sacrifices for that. Patrick Mahomes made the sacrifice, and look at his team. Now I'm not defending owners because I am nowhere near where they are as far as on the payment scale, but we
Right.
all know how this works. We all know how this works. It's not just one guy getting paid; they got to pay a whole team.
I
So
mean, yeah.
so this time in your career, it's time to chase rings, and you do what it takes in the hardware so that you can be in the upper echelons with the rest of the guys of the peers that came out with you, or be at the
And
top.
you said you said a lot when you said about the about the money that teams have to have um, salary cap, and there's 2 teams that we know of right now in very bad shape: Cleveland and New Orleans Saints, and they're both
Absolutely.
and it's just going to be rough for the next couple of years to try to put a
Mhm.
good product out on the field. So I think a lot of times, I mean, they just got to be very weird, very. You have to be constant. And like I said, there is a whole group of people that's all they do is crunch numbers, trying to figure
Mhm.
out how do we make this work. That's not the coach is not doing that. He is not up
Mhm.
going, how much money we got to be? No, they got accountants and CPAs and lawyers. That's what they get paid to do. And there's a lot of money floating around. There's a lot of questions. Is Rogers
Mhm.
going to come back? Deshaun, what's really going to happen to Deshaun? Is something, I mean, is he going to be is he coming back? Does anyone pick him up? Does he care? Who knows if he and I feel bad for the Cleveland fans because they had a good team. They had a lot of great players on that team that really could have went
Hmm.
somewhere. They were in the playoffs 2 years ago. Joe Flacco finally got beat. I mean, they had a little, and now they're number one.
Yeah.
Bought me the speaker.
The
No
number
big deal.
one rusher, the number one defense guy, he wants out. Miles Garrett wants
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Miles Garrett
So
wants
they
out.
could they could get the house, they could get the house, the pool house, you know, people are willing to give them anything to get Miles Garrett. He wants to go
Yes.
win. I think they owe him that, you
Yeah.
know.
And
So
he was a first round pick. I mean,
mhm.
he's a stud. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. And so they'll be dismantled, and then there'll be a rebuild. Um,
Mhm.
and then when they get free, they can get rid of all the negative equity. And the
Yeah.
Saints got one more season, two more seasons. The Cleveland's got, hey, the Bills got a good little bit too. They need to clean house with, and
Yeah.
uh, it's just a
And I think they're
game. You
going
know
to
what I mean?
start with Von Miller. I heard some.
Yeah,
I read some stuff about him possibly going back to Denver. Not sure, but it was in the free agency stratosphere, if you will.
he wants to come back to Buffalo, but I think maybe he was a little delusional, and
Yeah,
his
he's
last
another
year was
one.
25 million dollars. So we're done with him, and he would like to come back to Buffalo, and it's like, okay, but not for
We
25
can't.
million.
No,
Yeah,
we got other
yeah,
stuff to do.
yeah, 9 million. You know what
We
I'm
got other
saying? It's
stuff to
like
do. Yeah,
1 year. Yeah,
nine.
one year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll give you nine. For 1 year, and then we'll put some incentives in there. Put
No, if
some
he wants to
incentives
go
in
back
there
to,
for you to capitalize on a little
yeah,
money.
yeah.
But
Like I
we've
said,
given you more than you've given. We've
yeah,
given you plenty. We've
yes,
given you plenty, and
yeah. No, that's no
and the injuries keep coming. Now it's time for you to do us a favor. We've done you a favor.
right.
We paid you a lot of money. You hadn't been on the field a lot. Now it's time for you to do us a favor. If you want to stay here,
Correct.
stay here. Make it comfortable for the both of us, and let's go and get over this hump.
Um, that's all you can do. I mean, him going back to Denver. That would, like I said, cheap enough. He's a great coach on the field, and he's a
Yeah,
good on some situations. There's no doubt about that. That's it, but
right.
not for because Denver's another one that's got a lot of money floating around. They
Mhm.
overpaid. They overpaid for all these situations where people have overpaid for a quarterback. You would think that would be a huge factor.
Hmm.
That people would be very cautious about. I don't know. We can sign. Cousins is going to be out there. Uh,
Ooh, and he's
Minnesota.
just man.
Yeah. He's he's a good he's good until he's not good, and then but he's a good backup. He's still worth $9, $10 million a year. He's a great backup. Um,
Yeah,
that's what backups are getting 6 to 9 thousand, 6 to 9 million, 10 million. Um, and I mean, he probably could be a backup for another 3 years and probably could care less. Be like, okay, I mean, he's had some really good runs and he's had some really bad runs. And
yeah.
I mean, that's all you could say about that, really. I mean, I mean, he is, a lot of people get mad. Well, he's made the most. Well, he has because he wouldn't sign a contract. Or they didn't,
They
you keep
kept franchise
franchising
tagging
someone.
him.
Yeah. And he
So
just
is
kept,
it
he
is
went
it
from
his fault though? They
no,
Washington kept franchise tagging him, so he
35
collected the
million one
check.
year. Yeah, 40 million because the
40 million the
franchise
next. I
now,
mean,
yeah,
so
he
you
was
can't
at
be mad
yeah,
at him. He's just the business
no.
of football.
Yeah, it just happened to work out for him and that he didn't get hurt because that ruins you on the franchise tag. I mean,
Hmm.
there's no guarantee money. It just happened to and then he would have flashes of greatness, and then make little runs where it was like when Minnesota went 13-1 and he went to the playoffs, and you know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe he's
Yeah,
got, he's had some what's funny is Minnesota's had some really good runs with some quarterbacks that shouldn't be, that wasn't supposed to be their starters. You know what I mean?
right.
Him,
Absolutely.
Donaldson this year. Uh,
Hmm.
but it's kind of Keenum back in the day. I mean, there's
Yeah,
been a
Case
couple that's like,
Keenum.
yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't their quarterback. It was like he filled in, and they had they just had some really good seasons. But there's a lot of money floating around, and like I said, I would just think this is going to be like a I don't know. I mean, like Denver's tied in with this kid because he's not making
Yeah.
a lot. Bo Nix, he's turned out to be,
Right.
Sean to say, hey, this is we're going to make him work, and he has. And um, I mean, it's just kind of it was just kind of one of those things. I don't know. We'll see. And then what do you think about? So what do you think about Deion's son? Do you think where do you think he's going to end up? They're saying maybe the Raiders,
Ah, I was thinking that I was thinking the Rays was on the list because of, you got Pete Carroll there, and you also have Tom Brady tied into that, being a minority owner in the team. And I'm pretty
right?
sure that they go to him to make certain decisions. And Shador is a product of TB12. So
Yeah.
you kind of have that, quarterback whisperer, if you will, with Brady being around the facility and, making sure he's okay, making sure he's doing the work, putting in the work, giving him all of his little, tidbits and, all the things that he does. And I think Shadur is a smart enough guy to incorporate that. He's been doing it since since he was at Jackson State. Um, I saw an article where they said that he's probably not going to throw at the combine, but he's going to do work at the pro day in Colorado because I guess
Okay.
they feel like you can watch, my film, what I'm capable of doing. But I don't know. Sometimes I think that the combine might be good for him, unless there's something that he's not good at that he doesn't want to get out there at the combine.
And
Or
that's
he's already made up his mind, or he already knows where he's going. So I say, okay, well, I'll just go do my pro day at Colorado, you
right.
know.
I think the thing with him is, um, and I know Dion, a lot of confidence, a lot of you still got to come to the pros. This isn't
Yeah,
college. You know what I'm saying? And these guys are going to try to knock your head off. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're going to try because you got a big, um, kind of like the balls when they came into the league. Dad was doing this, and it really
Mhm.
caused for Lamar. It put a lot on Lamar. I thought, whereas like, dude, if you just stop, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let the kid just let him just, and not saying
Let
that
his
DN's done that.
play. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let his
but
play speak for him. He doesn't need a
yeah,
cheerleader. His play
right.
has got to speak for him.
Yeah, because Sanders, they got a swag. I get it. He already makes a lot of IL money. I get that too. But now you're in the NFL. Now you got to walk the walk and talk the talk because everyone's going to be criticizing you. And that's the other thing is everybody looks good when they're standing on top of the mountain. How do you look when you're
Hmm.
knocked to the bottom, crawling back? And
Right.
that separates to me. That separates because you've had success wherever you went. Well, how's it going to be when maybe you don't have success the first couple
Right.
years? You know what I mean? Well, Cowboy, Washington, what they just did. That's not the norm. I mean, that and Joe Burrow, I get it. Um, but and it can happen, but a lot of times number one draft great quarterbacks come in and they don't, they suffer for a while because they don't
Hmm.
have a lot of, and obviously um Vegas has they need a lot of stuff. It's not just a quarterback.
Right.
They need a lot of parts. So you just coming there, it may not be enough to will them over. into the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see. You know, I mean, interesting how he handles that. I think that it kind of makes character. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? How well that it's how well you make how well you take adversity and see what you can do with it. And we'll see. You know what I mean? That's a lot of hype. Um,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of hype to this draft. They call it the meat and potatoes draft because there's not a lot of
Yeah.
quarterbacks, but it's a lot,
Not a
which
lot of
is
quarterbacks, but
yeah, but that's okay. I mean, you need linemen, you need corners, you need defensive
yeah.
ends, you know what I mean. So that's the
Yeah.
other 90% of uh, of your deal, and then you got where's Wilson going? I mean, is he
Yeah.
going somewhere? Is he? I think he is, but who
Hmm.
takes him? But I think somebody will take Wilson because unless Denver's not paying him anymore, then everybody will take him cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
$3 million or whatever. It was cheap,
Yeah.
but it was cheap on the NFL. So it cost Pittsburgh very little to pick him up because
Hmm.
Denver was carrying all the other money. But once you get into his real um, worth, I mean, we're not gonna risk everything for you. Denver did
No.
that, and you didn't. I mean, you really were like a
Yeah.
he was like a tyrant to the first coach, and then him and
Yeah.
Sean really didn't get him. Obviously, him and
They didn't
Sean didn't
click
see
at
eye to
all.
eye at
Yeah.
all, and then he was gone. He's in Pittsburgh, and he's got his one Super Bowl. I get that. I mean, the Giants need a quarterback, but the thing with the Giants is they need so much other stuff, and
Hmm.
they just don't have a good
Yeah. They need a
organization right now.
lot of help.
They
Yeah.
love,
They need a lot
yeah.
of help in that interior.
What's crazy is the Giants and the Jets. How far down those? Well, the Jets have been for a while. How far down they've fallen, and they just
Yeah.
can't get back up. It sounds like the old, "I've fallen and I can't get up." No, but they just never been able to. They make a couple runs. Remember when Sanchez was there? They made it with the
Yeah.
rookie quarter. I mean, but it was um, all short-lived stuff. Haven't been really. Rex Ryan
Hmm.
was a. They haven't really made a long-term. And they've had some number one draft choices. And the Giants have not been good uh, since Manny
Really,
left.
since Eli left, yeah. Really,
Yeah,
since
and
Eli left, it's been downhill.
yeah. So I don't know. And coaching and the management doesn't seem to be on top of it. And I thought they got our offensive coordinator, and they was going to be their. He won Coach of the Year. Looked like he was moving in the right direction, but just couldn't get the quarterback situation right. Um, but at the same time, I just don't think a lot of people look at it differently. But I just think a lot of times without a good setup around you, you're just and you made this comment earlier. It has to be the setup that you're around the quarterback. You know what I mean? It's got to
Hmm.
be because a lot of guys just don't fit into certain systems, and then
Right.
and they look terrible, and you go, oh man, he's terrible. But it's not the system. It's not the system it's not the system. He's the most productivity. He puts out the most productivity.
Right.
And it'll be interesting to see what um it's interesting to see what Debo Samuels will do in a different
Yeah.
environment. I'm really trying to see that um, to see if he's a system player or he's actually I know he's got talent. He's a heck of an athlete, but it'll be interesting to
Hmm.
see how it all unfolds him in a different setting. And can he
Yeah.
sell? Can he stay healthy? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's another. But he's definitely a weapon.
Hmm.
He works great in San Francisco's system. And I was kind of surprised that they were letting him go only because McCaffrey's had so many. He's kind of a McCaffrey slash to me. That's what he
Yeah.
reminds me of. He can run, he can catch. So I was kind of surprised because I thought, well, man, I would have let McCaffrey go first because of his injuries before him. You know what I mean? Kind of looking at it like that,
Yeah.
but they let him, and I was like, oh, okay, or maybe they're working something out with McCaffrey on money. When
Yeah.
he's on the field, that guy's amazing. He's a game
Hmm.
changer. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He changed. When he got with them, it was like wow. But he just hasn't been
Yeah.
able to stay healthy to stay on the field, and it's like. But when he was healthy, when he played with San Fran, they were deadly. I mean, they were just
Oh
deadly
yeah.
what they did. Yeah. So
Oh yeah.
it's definitely kind of crazy. Hey guys, we're about to tune off. We got a little time left. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Big Lou. Remember to tune in every Tuesday night. And always remember to go to KM Radio 24 hours a day of great programming, many shows, lots and lots of music, 24 hours a day. And if you want to hit us up on our Facebook page, Sportsbook, or the KM Radio. Somebody will get back with you in a short time. But I enjoyed the show. We got a lot. We got March Madness coming around the corner. We got NBA. It's going to be looking into playoffs in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. Be able to go from there. We got NHL. Before we get off with the NHL,
Okay.
I wanted to say the longtime record of uh, of Gretzky, 882 goals. They said that it would be a record that would never be broke. Ovechkin from the Washington Capitals is 12 goals away from breaking it. Wish him good luck. It's a record that has been up for 30 years.
Yes.
But hey, that's a little NHL news. Hey, tune in next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. The Sports Book, Tony G, Big Lou on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Ham.
Boom.
All right.